everyone, I'm Andrea Clem, and today is October 25th, Sunday, and you're watching Turn to the Stars. And today I'm going to be talking about the strong theme that's going to be taking place as we move through this week toward the full moon that's occurring on Saturday, October 31st, which is Halloween. And it's going to be such an incredible energy this week because we have this full moon in Taurus at 8 degrees right beside the planet Uranus, the planet of surprise, breakthroughs, waking up, realizing, invention. So I'm going to talk a lot about that on today's show. And it is actually this is actually the second full moon in October, so it's called a blue moon. So it's a lot of emotional energy in 1 month, and with all the oppositions of the planets that we've experienced, this incredible awareness that has been very heightened, it actually brings things like king tides with the ocean. Full moons bring things like that when the tide is very high. Well, we've had that type of influence on a day-to-day basis because of all the planets that have been connecting in opposite signs. So today I'm going to be talking a little bit about that and how very rare this energy is that we're experiencing right now. And I also want to talk a little bit about what you're seeing in this chart. I don't know that you can see it, but today, October 25th, with Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, it's at 2 degrees and it's right next to the sun. That means that the sun is shining light on the areas of our thoughts, our minds, our ideas. During this retrograde, this is what I call a turning point, a point where we go, aha, I see what this energy, or what it is that I've been, that I meant to be reviewing during this retrograde. And it gives a sense of knowing why it's been so important for us to not make any impulsive decisions right now, to hold on, to investigate. So there's that light that's being shined. So it's a really important day today for everybody on this earth. Sun shines light. It gives us vitality. It's like a flashlight that turns on and onto our minds, onto what we're thinking about, onto what we've been researching. So just wanted to bring that to your attention today. And some of the things that I'm going to also talk about on today's show are some of the strong themes of bringing our lives into order while we're experiencing these huge upheavals and of change. And so there's a reason for this. I believe that with this full moon, I think there's this theme of balance. And when you have this unbelievable change that's happening in the world, and so it's good to know in your chart where this full moon is occurring, because it's an area of your life that's being illuminated, especially with Uranus right next to this full moon. It's going to be it's quite life-changing. And it's because what the energy of Uranus does is it liberates us from having to put things into boxes. It's like suddenly we go, oh wow, that's the way I used to do things, and maybe I ought to try it a different way this time. So there's this new order that's coming in our lives of having the value of freedom in the forefront of all decision-making processes. And freedom is very strong with Uranus energy, and it's being ingrained in us right now. And why? You have to ask yourself why. And so with Uranus right next to this full moon, it's really intense. It's so important because it defines the next 2,000 years, because Uranus is the ruling planet of Aquarius. Every zodiac sign has one planet, and some have two that rule it. And Uranus is one of the ruling planets of Aquarius. And so we're getting a glimpse. We're getting a vision of the age of Aquarius through this full moon energy. So, and by the, I've talked about this before, by the winter solstice on December 21st, 2020, Jupiter and Saturn are going to be coming together in the sign of Aquarius. So we are literally going to feel glimpses of this age beginning. Jupiter is the biggest planet in our solar system. Saturn is not much smaller. It has all those rings around it. Jupiter is about expansion, magnification, understanding. Things are just really expanded and made so much bigger. And so we're going to see Aquarius energy illuminated. And Saturn is going to say, and Saturn's message is, this is what we are working on. This is the area that we're meant to take responsibility for, and that is humanity, and that is for unity, and that is for doing what's best for everyone. So that energy is coming in real strong on the winter solstice. But right now is the turmoil that we're experiencing, surprises, unexpected, it's like turning up of what was suppressed up until now in order to make room for the new age to be able to grow and flourish. Uranus, the planet of sudden shifts, breakthroughs, influences us to take risks, to allow change. It tells us about the future, revolutionary adjustments, inventions take place. We just had the introduction of a something to help us with the virus, and that's things are happening at lightning speed, which is Uranus right now. And so it's a multi-dimensional consciousness, and it influences the higher mind, so it inspires our intuition. So with this full moon in Taurus next to Uranus, it's going to be really powerful. And Taurus energy is beautiful, it's calming, it's grounding, and Taurus is ruled by Venus, the planet Venus. So it's very Venusian. There's this strong femininity. There's this loving, stable, and with Uranus right next to, in Taurus as well, it's a liberating influence. And there's going to also be an exact square of Mercury retrograde in Libra on this full moon. So Mercury retrograde and square to Saturn is bringing up that stellium of energy, Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn in Capricorn. And Mercury retrograde is squaring those three planets on this full moon. And this stellium of planets has not occurred in 4,000 years, meaning Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto and Capricorn have not been together since 2,000 years ago. So it's extremely important. Whenever you have three powerful planets like that line up, which we have had this year, and they keep getting communication from other planets, the story, the influence, the experiences are incredible, life-changing, and we all know that because that's what we're all experiencing. So there's huge shifts going on. And Mercury retrograde is also joining Mars retrograde at this time, so we're going to have to look at the personal planets Mercury and Mars retrograde during this full moon in Taurus. And I mean, there's global shifting, but there's also personal shifting, personal changes. So we're experiencing across the world these unbelievable shifts, but we're each individually experiencing this personally. So also Venus is on this full moon is at 4 degrees in Libra, and it's opposite Chiron, the key to healing. Chiron's in Aries, and Chiron is actually in this universal chart in Aries almost exactly opposite. And that means that there is a lot of realizations of areas where we've had pain in relationships, and realizations about ourselves, realizations about others, and it's vice versa. I mean, it's both ways. So this is incredible energy. I've looked at this several times throughout the year and went, wow. I'd look at it and I'd step back and I go, there's something really incredible happening here. So there's a lot of intertwining topics that are going on right now. And the theme right now is a very integrative type of theme. And so it's bringing an understanding of how and where our values are. We might be realizing what foundations we want to put down or we're thinking about putting down, and also how to set up boundaries that allow us to keep the values that we've realized and foundations in place. And what full moons do is they always create heightened emotional energy. And this one, I think it's bringing us into balance, and it's stimulating energetically. It's very stimulating because there's this unpredictability with that Uranus right next to the moon, which is opposite the sun. So it's going to electrify things in every possible way. Uranus does rule over electricity, the electrical currents in our body. So there's this process sending us zingers, surprises, and it's freeing us up. It's freeing us up from areas where we've been stagnant. And I think that is a lot in relationships of our experience with the outside world, with people, with situations. It's like, you know, I see this just like it comes apart. So any stagnant situations you find yourself in, choices you haven't been able to make, these are going to be brought to the surface. The sun in Scorpio is shining light on those areas, and Scorpio naturally brings the truth up that is profound, deep, unconscious, brings up what our unconscious desires are and the things we don't actually realize that are going on, that's informing our decisions. So it's bringing up the big unconscious and the big unknown. Scorpio brings these things up. This energy is empowering this process, and it's extremely strengthening. And I am studying the charts of the two personalities that are running for the president's position for the next 4 years. And you know, we are in Scorpio season, so it's going to be incredibly intense. And with this all happening, with Mercury retrograde, Mars retrograde, we it's I won't add any personal opinions, but I would like to say that Scorpio is the sign of one of the candidates, which is Biden. He is a Scorpio, so this is his season. This energy for him is a lot more natural, and so it's supportive. So that is just one thing that I've realized in studying this. And I'm going to pull this right back here to continue to talk about this full moon. Scorpio brings up the process of transformation. There's an incredible strength that comes with Scorpio to transcend, to move beyond what is. It's allowing what is not serving to fall away, and like the phoenix, there's this rebirth. So with the sun and moon at 8 degrees on this full moon and Uranus, this is huge, good news, because it influences a confidence to leave things behind. It influences us to take leadership and ownership of what appears, and the key to any kind of growth to begin. And 8 degrees, the number 8, is associated with infinity, which means eternal life. So I'm taking this to mean that it's inspiring in eternal courage and an ability to overcome obstacles and gain strength as a result. So there's this influence to follow the lead of our visions. And this year and this full moon together influence and inspire us to create destined. It's not about us creating it. There's these destined events and fateful events that we'll be experiencing. So as the full moon approaches through this week and the 2 weeks following, we're going to feel and experience events that seem destined and fateful. There's going to be more turbulence, more surprises, and because the moon is our sensitive nature, meaning it inspires how we feel, it inspires our heart center, and Uranus is in Taurus, and what I think it's saying is, where are my feelings? What are the feelings that have got stuck into ruts? Where am I emotionally stuck? Uranus wants us to go beyond our comfort zone in a very big way. This full moon in Taurus is literally breaking us through these comfortable habits. And Taurus loves its comforts. Taurus likes to feel good and loves its pleasures and beauty and abundance. Taurus loves security, and so now Uranus is saying, what is the security that you're feeling? Is it a false sense of security? This energy will tell us to follow our instincts and to do things differently and to surprise ourselves. So I'm going to be coming back with more videos throughout the week, going into deeper discussions about this full moon energy, because as we progress through the week, it's going to be quite surprising what we realize. And as you've heard me talking about throughout the past week, the areas which are really deep that we're realizing that we were stuck in believing this is the way it was. And it was that way. What you've experienced was real, but it's changing. And I think that's the biggest message of this full moon. Do things differently. I would say that, you know, Taurus is one of the fixed signs of the zodiac, so there's this tendency to stay stuck and not wanting to move. Just like the symbol, the bull, you know, they have a ring through its nose in the picture. And so it's a very strong, stable, loving sign, but the tendency is to stay stuck in certain behaviors. And so I think Uranus is helping us on this full moon to recognize those areas so that we can move beyond them. So if you have any questions, any comments, I'd love to hear from you. I can be reached at Andrea@turntothestars.com. I am starting a new class November 14th, which is 8 weeks long, 2 hours on Zoom, where I'm personally taking you through the foundational steps to learn the language of astrology. It's a lot of fun, and if you miss it, it's all recorded on Zoom. So remember, turn to the stars and you'll find your answers there, and I look forward to talking to you again. Have a great rest of your weekend.